new topic to talk about. We are talking about how to make him miss you. Ladies, this topic is a very fun topic to talk about, but before we even get started with it, I want to tell you when you're in a position where you want to make a man miss you, I want to let you know right now that it's actually, if a guy's not paying the right attention to you or the right amount of attention to you, there's a lot more going on than just needing some sneaky techniques to get him to pay attention to you again. So I want to get that out before we start talking about the different techniques that you can use, because I'm not really into any type of manipulation, and manipulation never works very well for a long-term relationship, which if you're wanting somebody to miss you, most of the time that's what you're wanting with them, is a long-term relationship. Also, specifically today, we're going to focus on women who are in the dating phase, meaning you don't yet have an exclusive relationship with somebody. Let's start with number one, the first way to make a man miss you. And the very first thing you have to do is you have to stop calling, texting, checking his Facebook, Instagram, and showing up where he is. He will not have the opportunity to miss you if you are always there. Okay, let me repeat that. He will not have the opportunity to miss you if you are always there and in his line of sight. We're not wired to miss people who are always there. So if he's not paying a lot of attention to you, you need to retract some of your attention for right now. It doesn't mean that you won't go back to giving him your attention again, but if you'd like him to miss you, go ahead, pull some of your attention back, and we're going to use the next couple of techniques to help reel him back in. So the second technique, and this is something that I used in 2006 and 2007 when I was having my magical dating adventures, and it's not just a book, but what I did was celebrate every single moment that was going on. So instead of focusing on the long term, let's say if I really, really liked a specific man, instead of marrying him in my head and trying to get down the aisle and really worrying just about him, I put into a book and celebrated every single thing that was going on in my love life and in my life as well, which was so beneficial. But there's, again, the second piece. So not only was I celebrating, the second piece to the second piece is that I want you to get grateful for his lack of attention, okay? So what can that mean? Well, I have it in here in my journal, and I could go through different entries when my current husband, he would go for 5 weeks at a time without contacting me, sometimes when we were just dating, which for most women would drive them freaking bonkers. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm not going to say I didn't have any moments of like, but I wasn't bonkers. Why? Well, because I was celebrating what was going on with the other guys that I was dating, plus I also got grateful for his lack of attention and what that meant to me, which there were a lot of gems that I found when he wasn't paying attention to me. I found out that there were tons of things that I could be focusing on, which were really much more important at the time to my life and to me being happy, which takes me into number three. Número tres is after you figure out and you start getting grateful for his lack of attention and celebrating all the other pieces of your life, you need to pay attention to the other areas of your life that you've been neglecting. Because I know what happens. You start focusing on a guy, you spend a lot of time together, and it's all about him for a while. It's about you're checking your messages constantly, your social media, things like that, to see if he's connected with you and contacted you. And a lot of the rest of your life falls to the side. Your friends fall to the side, your work falls to the side, your exercise habits, everything starts to get neglected. When a guy stops paying attention on you, this is paying attention to you, not on you, but to you. This is the best indication. This is a sign. This is like a sign from your higher up, from the universe saying, hey girl, you need to go back to the things that are really important right now. So you're going to take that opportunity, and like we're talking about in number 3, and pay attention to the other areas of your life. Now, this is also key too, and what most women don't realize. When we hyper focus on one man and we make it all about him before we have become exclusive with him, and again, I'm going to repeat for the trillion time. Sexual exclusivity is not relationship exclusivity. So if you don't have relationship exclusivity, then you shouldn't be hyper-focused on one man, and you should still keep your options open and date other men at the same time to really make your dating experiences magical. You also need to pay attention to these other men in your life. This, I can't tell you enough how important this is. If you do not have relationship exclusivity with someone, you need to reel your attention in back from him, from the guy that you've been focused on, and open up your options to other men right away. Now, I know what's going to happen. At first, it's going to feel a little awkward and somehow you're betraying him, but you're not betraying anybody that you don't have relationship exclusivity with. And in fact, men most of the time can't handle your tunnel vision on them before they have committed to you in a relationship. That's really important, so let me repeat that. Most men cannot handle your undivided attention on them romantically when they have not committed to you yet in a romantic relationship capacity, okay? So it's so important for you to understand that you need to keep your options open. Plus, a little secret that I learned, if you want to draw in the most magical attention from men romantically, you need to pay attention to the men who are paying attention to you the way you want to be treated. This is so very important. Too many women get caught up and hyper-focused on a guy who's not paying any attention to them at all, okay? And so what does that do? That leaves you feeling desperate all the time. And when you're in that desperate energy, you're not going to attract him back. You're going to feel crazy and nutty all the time, and that energy is actually going to push him away. But when you're focused on the men and pay attention to the men that are treating you the way that you want to be treated, you're going to flip the situation, and then all of a sudden his radar is going to go off from the guy that's not paying as much attention to you. Let me explain that a little bit. Yes, men have this radar. They can feel when you're having a great time with other men. They can feel it because you give off an energy of, hey, guess what? I don't need you to have an amazing life. I'd like you to be here, but since you're not, I'm going to focus on men who are treating me the way I want to. And that triggers something in them. Plus, you learn to stop being addicted to men who treat you poorly on a constant basis. This is so very important. If you want to be an adored woman, you have to learn to focus your attention on men who treat you the way that you want to be treated. Period. If you can't learn that lesson, you're going to go through life and go through romantic relationship after romantic relationship and romantic encounter after romantic encounter, always coming up feeling empty and disappointed and needy and clingy, which is not who you really are as a woman in romance. You are so much more. So again, remember, pay attention to the men who are treating you the way that you want to be treated. And you'll more than likely, if this guy has any substance, character at all, if he's supposed to be with you, then he'll be triggered. You don't need to tell him about it, by the way. Never, ever go tell a guy about the other men that you're dating. That's not the point here. We're not trying to make guys jealous. What we're doing is exploring who we are romantically as women and setting ourselves up so that we never have to settle. Very important. Okay?